Catch me 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Friday on Black Culture Radio. And don't forget that you can listen to any show you want at any time on Mixcloud. If you go to mixcloud.com and put JJ Music Lover 75 into the search bar, you'll find all my shows and mixes. Yes. Dopeness there. Started off, like I said, Eddie Kane and Brahma Bull. They have an album together called Still Trying to Figure Me Out. The track I played was called Cups Up. And that track that just finished in the background, Orion and DJ Proof featuring King Tetris, a track called Keep It 100 off an album called Trolling Mahi, Orion and DJ Proof. And I have them both on the line. DJ Proof, Orion, what's up, brothers?
Peace. What up?
Yeah, man. Again, thank you for this. Nice to be speaking to you again, DJ Proof. Yes, so we are going to go from here. Right. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to start off with is the title of the album, Trolling Mahi. Who came up with that and what does it represent?
Ryan came up with the title, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Basically we in South Florida and a lot of people go boating out here and everything. So it's like trolling Mahi is like a good activity to do when you're out in the ocean because you could get a lot of good mahi fish.
Oh,
and so it's also like a double entendre because in this day and age with the social media and everything, a lot of people be trolling and stuff, and so it's a little bit of that. Like when I initially came up with it, I was trolling a specific MC and trolling him with a bunch of subliminal diss tracks until I finally like dissed him and stuff. So it was I called it Operation Trolling Mahi just as a fun play that I did for like a month or whatever.
Mhm.
But then as me and Proof were doing this project, I'm like, you know what? I should use that as the album title, but take a different angle from it and not so just at this MC, but also like trolling Mahi. You know what I'm saying? I have this one line on the album that basically encompasses that whole thing, and it's like it's the same old shit, different porta potty. You could catch one fish or you could troll for Mahi. And that's
Right.
basically
Okay.
Okay.
Right, I got you. That's dope. Okay, so how did you guys get together? Was it always the plan to make an album together, or did it start off with a track or two and the chemistry worked and you went from there?
We actually linked up on MySpace. That's how long we kind of like been collaborating with each other.
Okay.
I think it was in your first album, Esperanza. I think I did like 3 beats on there, and then like periodically we would just work together on certain projects or whatever. And then we would always like pass each other and say, "Yo, we got to do an album." And then one day he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, let's get it started." So at that point, I just sent him a whole bunch of beats, and then the rest is pretty much history.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Proof. All the tracks on the album are produced by you. I know we talked before when we were talking with Verbalist. That's the way you like to do it. You like to do the whole album. Put it as a whole project. Did you have anything specific in mind? I know you guys have worked together before, like you just said, but did you have anything specific in mind when you were making beats for Orion, or did you like when you were sending him beats? Did you pick beats that you think he'd like, or did you just send him a pack and let him pick?
It was kind of a little bit of both. I kind of because I'm very familiar with his music. Cause like I said, we've known each other like maybe like 15 plus years, something like that. So I'm very familiar with his sound and his music. So I sent him stuff that I figured he would like, but then I wanted to send a couple of other joints that I was a little bit on the wall about, but I'm gonna send it anyway just to see if he was feeling it, and then we go from there. So I kind of was just doing a little bit of both, man. Just kind of like, but normally my process, I'll like go through, man, maybe like 100 beats, and I'll pick out maybe a good solid 20, 30, 40, depending on, how many he initially likes, and then kind of just go from there. So let's say I send him a pack of 20, and let's say out of the 20, he's feeling 5 of them. Okay, cool. I got to go back, find some more to send another pack to him. So hopefully he can pick out another, another 5 to 10, and then we can get the whole album process, started. So that's pretty much my whole, formula for like sending out beats.
Okay. Yeah. So Orion, I know that you have, I know that you dabble in beat making yourself. Um, is there one you enjoy more than the other, or is it just all artistic expression for you?
I'm these days I just enjoy writing a little bit more than making
Mhm,
beats. Like I'm not as patient as I once was with making beats,
mhm.
and I write a lot faster than what I could make beats.
Right.
So like a good beat will take you anywhere from like an hour to like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, whatever. And I don't got that type of time. So typically now I'm more writing than I am making beats and stuff. So having people like around like Proof, other producers I've worked with like Kronos or Draz or Abstracto, like it's good to have these brothers around because
Mhm.
I could just get a pack from them and then just let the writing take its course because I'll write in one sitting and be done with it. Whereas the beat making, I'm a lot more pickier. So these days it's reversed. Before it used to be, I used to like making beats a lot more than writing because I have more time at my disposal.
Yeah. Okay. So that was gonna be my next question, but I think you kind of answered it. Do you find it easy just to, you know what I mean? Because obviously, when you're making beats, like you said, you get that kind of perfectionist thing in your head. Is it easy for you to let it go and let the producer just do what they do, or do you feel the need to, sort of chip in?
Yeah, I kind of tip in a little bit. Like on this album, there's like a few times that I chipped in, like on like, yo, you should add a synth. You
Yeah,
should
Mhm.
add a
yeah,
synth on the hook, or yo, do you like this sample if we add this sample on the hook? But I don't try to do too much because like if the producer already knows what they're doing, and in this case Proof knows his thing, it's like there's not much really to
Mhm.
add. So like I might like say like, yo, add this little synth sound that there this little string sample if you're down to add this at the hook or whatever. But
Mhm.
I'm always like real cautious about that because I know like the producer has a certain vision in mind when they orchestrate the track.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, Proof. How um might not be phrasing this right, but how open are you to change stuff that the other party is, talking about? Has there ever been a time where they've wanted to make kind of like big changes and you were like, "Nah, I'm not doing that," kind of thing?
No, not really, man. For the most part, I'm open to like ideas, man, because I'm more concerned about the end product, man. Just as long as the end product is dope, I'm
Mm,
open to like any ideas because it may be something that my ear may not catch, that the MC's ear may catch on a beat. They'd be like, "Yo, throw this in here," like what Orion was saying,
mm,
add this or throw this on there. And then once I hear it, man, majority of the time, I'm feeling it, so I just go with it. Like I said, my main concern is just the end product, man. As long as the end product's dope and it sounds good, then
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good.
No, I mean, I've been absolutely banging this album, man. I remember when we talked before Proof about, for me, I much prefer an album that's like, sort of 7, 7, 8, 7, 9, 10, 7 than a 10, 10, 2, 10, 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like it
yeah,
to, you understand what I mean? So,
yeah.
yeah, I've been banging this album, man. Orion, I wanted to ask. I mean, for me personally, listening to this album, because I've listened to it quite a few times now. For me, what I really like about it, to me, it's a very positive album. You do touch on some dark things, but more or less, I found it to be sort of celebratory. You know what I mean? Was that your? I mean, is that your style? And was that the vision for this album?
I mean, the album kind of like took its course and took its own little life, if you
Right.
will. And I feel like the album has like a dark entry point. Like when you
Mm,
start the album, it's pretty dark. It's like songs like Operacion and Microdose are more on the darker end. But by
Mhm.
the time you get to like Keep It 100,
Yeah,
it starts getting on a more positive vibe. And it just came out that way, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what the beats asked of me as a writer, and that's what I delivered. You know, my prior album to this one, I released an album called Everything Will Be Okay with Chronos, and that's a really dark album. That's like one of my darkest albums, you know. So it was good to like dive into a different realm with this one, you know. Like Keep It 100, I wrote Keep It 100 while I was in Paris, in France. I was in Mount Rouge, and like I think I wrote that one. I wrote Soaked In and Forget About It. I like those three tracks I wrote while I was in France, so I was already in a good mood, you know.
All right, that's dope, man. Yeah, I there's a few tracks that stood out for me in terms of the writing. I mean, the production's dope up and down the album. I've already said that. On dedication, you talk about, you celebrate sort of people behind the scenes who don't usually get the love. What prompted you to touch on that specifically when you were writing it?
I come from that background. So I
Mhm.
graduated from Full Sail in 2002. So I come from an engineer background, really.
Yeah.
And even though I have engineer experience and everything, I still bounce off the mixes to somebody else because sometimes you're a little too close to it and it's hard to like take. It's better to take a step back, have another set of ears, listen to the project. So this project was actually mixed by NFA. Like I recorded everything at the crib and then I sent him all the tracks. Proof sent them all the stems, and he mixed this whole project together.
Right.
And that track and specifically, I just let the pen do what it do, man. I write in one sitting. Like I don't like to write 8 bars and then come back to it 2 days later. Nah,
Mhm.
I gotta write like once the pen is moving, the pen is moving. So
Mhm.
I've always been a big fan of artists that let you into their lives. Like
Yeah.
I don't like artists that just like do the fly talk and the dope punchlines. Like
Mhm.
I dig that, but when I listen to a whole project, I want to know about your life. I want to know about things you're passionate about,
Yeah.
and you know what's your story. Like I think in hip hop these days, it's a art that's kind of like being lost in the sauce,
Mhm.
where people don't have. They feel like the audience doesn't have that attention span anymore, and
Mhm.
I gotta give them 2 verses, and it's just gotta be punchlines, and that's it. Nobody's interested on hearing the story track anymore, but I'm still a fan of that. So
Mhm.
like that second verse on dedication is more of like almost like a biographical tale of my experience with different studios, engineers, and all that. And you know,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I totally feel what you're saying, man. Obviously, I come from that era, man, the 80s, 90s. You know what I mean? Like you said, the storytelling, the longer tracks. Um, I think it's just the way the market's gone. You kind of have to cater to that if you want to move units, I guess. I mean, that's just my take on it. I'm not in the business, but yeah, you touch on current topics too. On the track 2 years ago, you touch on Ukraine and Russia, and touch on just slightly Palestine and Gaza and that kind of stuff. What prompted you to do that track now? You know what I mean? For this
so that
project.
joint. Yeah, that joint was actually part of the Operation Trolling Mahi, if you will. When that
Mhm,
track that was one of the earlier tracks recorded for the project. Um, so the idea of it, if you've ever seen KRS-One live, he
mhm,
does this thing where he does like, I'm gonna talk to the metaphysical self. So he'll be rapping on stage and he'll talk to the 1984 him, and then he'll talk to the 1994 him, and then he'll talk to like the 2034 him, that yet has yet to
okay.
exist.
Mhm,
So that was the idea of the track. The idea of the track when I did it, it was 2025, and I'm telling you where we were at and where I was at in 2023. And the
yeah.
second verse talking to myself in 2027.
Mhm,
And so the stuff I say in 2027 may or may not come to fruition. I don't know. You know what I
mhm,
mean? So it's kind of like a the Nostradamus quadrant, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Of hoping. There's a lot of hopeful thinking on it. You know, I don't necessarily know if those things will come into play for real for people, for
Yeah,
us or whatever. But
Mhm.
that's kind of what I always touch on, like current events in a lot of my verses, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the idea there, and then because it was part of the whole trolling Mahi operation, the dude that had dissed me, like the beef started 2 years prior to 2025.
Right.
So when I was trolling him, I knew this dude was like keeping tabs on every post. I dropped like a song every week.
Mhm.
So I know that was one of the songs. He's like, oh, this is the one where this is the one where he's gonna diss me finally, you know? So I'll just, that was the idea behind it, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, if you peep it, if you really know what was all that, there's some stuff in there that only he would know too.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, like I said, for the most part, like I said, the album starts off dark, but it is for me overwhelmingly positive. I mean, you do, like I said, touch on some dark stuff. I remember there's a bit on the album can't remember which track it was, but you're talking about how your parents couldn't last and they had to split and all that kind of stuff. You touched on that. Was there ever a time early on in your career where you thought about doing the tough guy thing?
Nah, because like a lot of my raps, like I do go into the, I guess, tough guy talk a little bit, but that's more so because I'm doing it from an MC standpoint.
Mm,
So a lot of it is like battle rapper shit, because that's the world I come from.
yeah.
But I don't mind getting vulnerable on a track either. And that one,
Mhm.
that the Count My Blessings track, that's the oldest track on the album by
Oh yeah,
far. It's like that
yeah,
thing
yeah.
was everything on this album was recorded within 2025 to 2026.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even say 2026, 2025, the whole album,
Mhm.
with the exception of that song. That song
Mhm.
was recorded in 2009.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's the one that sat in the vaults. And even pulling it out, I was just like, should we even put this? But I'm like, it's a dope joint, man. Like, and it deserves a home.
Mhm.
So I've always tapped into, you know, uh, emotional tracks, shit like the one of the first joints that Proof produced for me was Without You, and
yeah,
that song talks about, I
yeah,
talk about my sister, my wife, and my mom on that
Mhm.
joint. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I love rappers that do that. Like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Some rappers that don't like to do that, and that's cool too. But
Yeah.
that's my MO for the most part. But I don't mind fucking slapping a rapper on a track either.
Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about this a bit in the last interview, Proof.
yeah,
But you're both from Miami, Florida.
yeah,
We've spoken about I've talked to a few artists from Florida. Big shout out to Kingdom Come, big shout out to Mike Martinez over there in Flagler. What do you think about whether there's something that's happening in Florida at the minute? I'll start with you, Bruce. Do you think there's something that's happening in Florida at the minute that's producing,
oh,
this wealth of artistry?
yeah, yeah. I was actually just thinking about this today. Like, if you go back maybe like 10, 15 years ago, like the whole scene down here, as far as like hip hop artists or whatever,
Mm,
it was a lot of division. I think now I don't think I've ever seen as much camaraderie and like everybody just being together and supporting each other constantly than
mhm,
I've ever seen it before. Like somebody will put out an album, everybody's pretty much jumps on and supports it, whether it's a simple a comment, a like, a repost, a throw it in your story or stuff like that, or even, going the extra yard and like actually purchasing the album.
yeah.
Like I see that all across the board. And like when I say it's like a lot of artists right down here that are putting out like dope music, it's a lot,
Mm,
bro. It's a lot. It's actually something coming up soon. I think Orion can talk about that a little bit more. I think it's called Fuego Fest or something like that. But it's like 20, 30 artists or something like that. And like Miami artists. Of course, they have a couple of headliners that are coming from out of town, like Static Selector, I think J. Rawls, Copyright, and a couple other people. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
mm,
the rest of the artists are just straight South Florida artists, man. So it's going to be like a festival. And It's crazy. But like I said before, man, it's like when somebody has a show, also when somebody has a show, everybody pulls up, whether they perform it or not. They just come and just support. Oh, you gonna be performing? All right, we coming. You know, and that's from my perspective. I just see it's like a lot of togetherness and like everybody's like supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? You know, and even even if they have their little disagreements, little beefs or whatever, a lot of times I've seen cats put that to the side and be like, "Yo, I'm still gonna rock with you, man. I'm still gonna support you or whatever." You know, we can put that to the side, be grown men, and you know, and I can still rock with you and support you. That's what I see from my perspective. You know, as far as the movement, the hip hop movement in South Florida.
Yeah. What about you, Orion? Is that what you found in the last 5-10 years, whatever?
Yeah, I think it's been brewing really positively. Me and my dog, just we have a show that we put together called La Plancha Hip Hop. We did over 21 events, and basically we would showcase like 5 different MCs up on stage, and they would compete for like a golden plancha trophy or whatever. A plancha is Spanish for clothing iron. And we did this at every event. We would not only do that, but we would drop a mix after the event, and the mixtape would feature all the artists that performed and any artist that was in the building. So if you were there, if you were just support, you were on the mixtape. And all the mixtapes are on SoundCloud, and those mixtapes, then they have anywhere from 20 to like 30 artists on them. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes to show you, like, a mixtape that commemorates a night, an event, and easily every time we put out a mixtape, we had over 20 something, 30 artists, and it wasn't like a open mic situation where you get an open mic night and you got 40 people there that are dying to perform. That's one thing. Like, they just kind of came out for themselves. But like, those mixtapes are like a direct reflection of like that support that was like, really, I would say since like 2020 it like really started bubbling. And now you have dudes that are making amazing strides within our scene, whether it's Money Mowgli, Shoddy, Kingdom Come, who you mentioned earlier. So many dudes. We just had a dude recently win America's Got Talent. Well, he got the Golden Buzzard, and he was from my hometown. Shout out to Luke Taleno. A lot of dudes making amazing strides within the South Florida hip hop scene. And I think it's good, man. And like Proof said, there's been dudes that have beefed here and there, but everybody's kind of kept it on wax. And I think that's another positive thing, steel sharpens steel and all that. So yeah, I really like where it's headed. I like where it's going. I like that everybody's just like choosing to just cultivate a sound, because I think we'll be bigger as a wave rather than just this every man for himself, crabs in a bucket mentality. When I think of Griselda, I think of Buffalo. When I think of Edo, I think of Rochester. When I think of Big L, I think of Harlem. So the same thing has to go if we want to develop this boom bap traditional hip hop scene within South Florida. Motherfuckers gotta like show it's a movement. You know what I'm saying? When I think back to the Snoop and Dre, and I think to Long Beach and Compton, I'm thinking of a lot more. I'm thinking of MC8. I'm thinking of fucking Dog Pound. I'm thinking of so many other acts. So I think if we focus in on just being a wave, I think that's a lot bigger than anything. Proof mentioned Fuego Fest that goes down in August. If you in the South Florida, Miami area, tap in with me, Brassball09 on Instagram, because I'm gonna be promoting that night. They have a group from LA that's headlining this duo, Coyote. Dudes is really dope. They're headlining. Copyrights gonna be out there. I believe J. Ross, and like Proof said, man, a lot of the artists I just mentioned, Money Mowgli, myself, Dirty Doe, so many cats is gonna be out there. Choco Valens. So yeah, man, it's a dope thing we got brewing right now in South Florida.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I have always said that. I used to get into arguments on social media all the time from people that were saying that hip hop was dead, especially people my age, do you know what I mean, who were there in the 80s and 90s, do you know what I mean? And they're saying hip hop's dead and all that. And I always say to them, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the artists that we used to listen to back then are still making music. Like, if you're not supporting that music, how is the artist that you love meant to carry on making music? You know what I mean? If you get behind them, you support, you buy the album, you go to a gig, you know what I mean? If you're out there and you're showing support, they can carry on doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? But to say that hip hop is dead, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I've said it
exactly.
before. I think people just got lazy, you know, because during the 90s, hip hop came to you. They forgot that you had to go and search for it. We're now in the era where you got to go and look for it again, and you got streaming platforms to help you, recommend artists. But if you're out there and you're supporting, you know what I mean? Like, I try and do it in my own little way by, platforming dope artists and albums that I find with my little club that I've got going on, my little, people that listen to me. But, I might not be Funk Flex reach. But you know what I mean? When I find something dope, man, I try and let people know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? People who tell me that hip hop's dead, I tell them that I can show them 100, 150, maybe 200 tunes from this year alone that are dope.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The artists are out there, man. You go and find them, it's all there for you. So
Oh yeah,
I appreciate you guys,
every
coming
little
on
piece
and
counts,
doing
man.
these kind of, you know what I mean, still putting it out, man, because it really is needed.
Yeah, man.
Orion, these are questions proof that I asked you before in the last interview.
Okay.
So I'm just going to concentrate on Orion for a while, if you
Go ahead,
don't
go
mind.
ahead.
Um, so before Orion, before Brass Balls, before you could sort of curate your own musical tastes, what kind of music did you grow up around? I know, sort of South Florida, Miami, you're, what I mean, sort of more from the Latino space, but what kind of stuff were you listening to? Were your parents playing, cousins, etc., when you were growing up?
Yo, my parents were playing like salsa, a lot of merengue, a lot of like bolero music. So bolero is like ballad, like Spanish ballad music, really
Mhm,
slow and like just talking about heartache all the time. And
mhm,
it's crazy. My dad would listen to all that stuff, bro. Like while he was fixing cars or whatever. So like that was, but I really wasn't necessarily turned on to that. Like what turned me on to like music was, my older brother, my older sister. They were already putting me up on like, whatever was, radio friendly popping stuff. So whether that was Michael Jackson or whether that was motherfucking Pump Up the Jam or whatever the hell
mhm.
it was, I was hearing it as a direct, because of them. First hip hop tracks I remember listening to that like kind of like made me like really like interested in hip hop was from my older brother. So just seeing Black Sheep, Choice is Yours,
Mhm,
or Grandmaster Flash, The Message,
mhm,
or you know what I'm saying, Jungle Brothers, I'll House You, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Tribe Called Quest Scenario. Like these are like the earliest stories of like real hip hop that I
Yeah.
remember. You feel me? Obviously LL, Rock and all that. Run DMC. For me though, like that was also an era of like you had Metallica, Guns N' Roses.
Mhm.
So I was big into rock when I was like, third grade, forming my own thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I heard Wu Tang. When I heard Wu Tang, I was like in fifth grade,
Mhm.
'93, and that shit it
Yeah.
just sized everything. So when Wu came into play, it was over for me. It was like all hip hop
Yeah.
from there.
Mm.
I think Wu Tang and Cypress Hill for a lot of people bridged
Yeah.
that gap between the two. I was into metal long time before that. You know what I mean? This is a metal band here on my t-shirt. So I've been into that rock and metal for years and years. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that 80s energy that remind me of one of the tracks on the album again. I think it's Microdose, where you got, the salt and pepper dope. My mic sounds nice, check one. And you got the scratching from the 80s and early 90s tunes. How important is that era to you in terms of how you approach your music? I'll start with you, Proof.
Oh, man. It's actually like pretty much what Orion said. Like my first love. I think I said it in the last interview. My first love
Mm,
was like rock and roll, and then from there, my mom in the house and stuff. I got more into soul and R&B, and then
yeah.
once I got around my older cousins was when I got more into hip hop. So when I first heard the microdose track, I think we both like, yo, we need to throw some scratches on here. So I was like, you know what? Let me come up with some ideas. So normally when I go to like looking for like acapellas or like phrases for like throwing like hooks or whatever, I always go back to the '90s, man. I always go back to the '90s, man, because they have some of the most clever, the most phrases and like lines that'll catch you. So I try to use those, based off of the song and the verses. So I think on that, I use like a Fife Dog phrase and I think MC Shan, right? I think it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So just went back and forth with those, man, and it just fit perfectly, man. But but like I said before, I like my first go to is like something from the '90s or '80s or maybe as late as like early 2000s when I'm looking for phrases and stuff, man, because it's just so much dope lines that you can use from like not even just hip hop, man. It's like either like other genres you could throw in there, man. Just as long as it fits and it sounds good and it goes with the whole message of the song,
Yeah.
you can work with it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've said before the one of the things that I love about hip hop the most is that you can take, like you say, a phrase from anything, or 4-8 bars from anything, and just loop it and just rap on it. And you know what I mean? Doesn't matter what it is, man. You can put anything into hip hop and make it dope. So Orion, what when you first started expressing yourself with the writing, um, what age were you when you started doing that, and how did it form? Were you sort of writing poetry by yourself, or was you ciphering, banging on lunch tables? How did it develop?
Yo, so well, real quick, I'm glad you brought up microdose because I want to give a shout out to the two brothers on that track because that's Mellow Ike and Tariq Damore. Both of them cats are from a legendary group out of Miami called Those Funky Bastards. This is like one of the early '90s hip hop groups really doing their thing in Miami. They had vinyl that they put out back in '92, '93, all of that, and you could find them on YouTube, like the well sought after MCs. And I've had the honor of being really cool with them at this point, and it was great to have them brothers on this album. They came up with that hook. The Tariq, the third guy rapping, the one that came up with that hook. And so salute to them for being on that album. That's why we called it microdose, because microphonology rap. And I was like, yo, these are the two rappers from Those Funky Bastards. So that was the idea there. But as far as like when I picked up the pen and really started exploring the writing and stuff, I wasn't a early like poetry enthusiast. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't writing like very early on. I was doing graffiti early. I was definitely like in love with hip hop early on and everything. But as far as me writing songs, that took a minute. Like when I was in high school, I was like freestyling and ciphers and that sort of thing. Um, but I just never like gravitated towards like, yo, I'm gonna actually write whole songs because there wasn't really any MCs that I knew of coming out of Miami. Not like to the lyrical, that was like, yeah, we had Trick Daddy and everything. Trick is cool, but it was just a different flavor out here. It was like the more down south sound. It wasn't until I heard Mr. Mike Ripper in like '96.
The RIP to Mike Ripper.
Yeah, his stuff was being played on an underground station called 96.1, which was being spun at that time by DJ Khaled. This is back when DJ Khaled spun underground hip hop. And so I fell in love with Mike Ripper's shit. And just knowing he was from Miami, I was just like, damn, and I was like entering high school at that point. And I had this one tape. I rocked that shit so much the tape popped. And it had 2 Mike Ripper songs on it. And that's what really made me like finally, I think I was like a sophomore in high school when I started like picking up the pen and trying to write. And I kind of was just like, I don't know, man. It kind of like the whole rapping thing seemed like a pipe dream. So when I graduated from high school, I went to Full Sail for recording engineering. I was out there for just, I figured I'll learn how to make beats, I'll be a producer, and I'll be an engineer, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't too passionate about writing. And then I met some cats out there in Orlando that are real talented MCs. I got familiar with the Orlando underground scene, and I was just blown away that these guys were like 17, 18 years old, and dudes were cutting tracks, and I hadn't seen that in Miami. Not to say that that wasn't going on, but
Mhm.
I hadn't, that wasn't the group of friends I was around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So seeing that, I want to shout out Midas the Beast out of Orlando, very talented MC. And me and him got pretty close, and that put the battery in my back to like, yo, I gotta put my bars, you know what I mean? Like really, really put them to the test. And
Mm.
so at that point, like 2002, I just started writing every day. Forced myself to write to like it's a reflex at this point, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much where the passion for the pen and the writing really came from, is that era.
Okay, that's cool, man. That really is cool. Yeah, what I like to do, same as what I did last time. I'll say it again. With the dedication track. What I like to do is get the artist that I'm speaking to um, just to give some flowers, man, just to give shout outs. I know you've shouted out a few people in this interview. But I'll start with you, Orion. Is there anyone specifically that you want to give flowers to that helped you along your way from the beginning, or is, really helping you out now with what you're doing?
Yo, man, big shout out to Pro the artist. He's the dude that's singing on the hook for the dedication joint.
Mhm.
I met him a couple of years back, and he's been a strong contributor of the scene down here. He's like our go-to for when we need a hook. But he could spit also. He's got bars also. So shout out to him and all the artists that are on this album. You know, Don Murda, King Tetris, Money Mowgli, DJ XS, Tariq and Mellow Ike, like I mentioned before, and on NFA for like mixing this album. Um, yeah, man, I got way too. I could go on for days with shout outs, bro. So it's like,
Yeah.
big up to everybody, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know I did this with you, Proof, last time, but yeah, just give some flowers, man. Just give some shout outs.
Uh, man, pretty much what Orion said, man. I just want to like, I guess, piggyback off of that, man. Just everybody that contribute to the album, man. For the artists that were featured on it. Big shout to NFA, man. He made that thing sound so good, man. Like sonically, one of like out of like probably like majority of the projects I've done, man. It sounds like so good, man. As far as like the sound quality, man. Like he hit everything, man. So big shout to him, man. And just man, yo, man, just big shout to everybody in the South Florida scene right now, man. That's just making it happen, man. Like everybody's just building up the culture, man. We just growing together as like one unit, man. You know what I'm saying? So big shout to everybody, man. It's like way too many people, bro, for real.
Yeah. All right, man. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, like I said, man, I've been lucky enough to speak to quite a few people from all over Florida, man. There's definitely a movement happening there. Also, like you said, Orion, you know what I mean? Like, the New York State, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, all the way down to Atlantic City, man. There's movements going on out there as well, man. I really do like the way hip hop's going. Yeah, guys. Actually, I wanted to ask as well, when you're just saying then about the way the guy mixed the album for you. Sorry, I've forgotten his name.
NFA.
NFA.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how aren't you still surprised sometimes when you get the finished product back and the way it sounds from what you gave them? Did it still surprise you, or are you kind of like, sort of used to it now?
Oh,
Yeah,
nah.
I'm kind of used to it. I'm like just like yo, whatever. I'm taking shirts to the dry cleaners at this point. You know what I mean? So I just know what I'm gonna get back. Like I do have to kind of like force myself to like really like listen to the whole track, because sometimes I'll end up like NFA, who you can find them online as Nifa Music, Apex. These are guys that I normally go to, and I really trust them. So it's like I know once I listen to it after listening to 4 or 6 bars, I'm just like, yeah, man, it's good. I don't, but I have to like, nah, let me listen the whole way through, because maybe there is some, and you can pick up on something that like, yo, wait a minute, you need to fix this ad lib or whatever. But sometimes I could get too trustworthy and be like, yeah, it's good, bro. We're good. We're good.
What about you, bro?
Yeah, man, pretty much the same way, man. Like I listen to like maybe the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, man. If it sounds good from there, especially if somebody that I'm already used to working with. So like the whole process of the album, like the first couple of tracks we got from NFA, I was like, yo, these sound good. So the first couple, I think I listened to the entire track. But then after those, like the rest, I would listen to a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I was like, okay, this is good. This is
Yeah, you
good.
knew what you was gonna do, so it was like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you for that, man. Yeah, so just before we go, again, I'll start off with you, Orion. I know you gave your IG before, but just let everyone know where they can find you on social media, where they can find your music, etc.
Yo, find me on Instagram, Brassballs09. You can also check for me on YouTube. My channel is Orion Hip Hop, and in got my music. I have tape reviews that I do. I have obscure underground demos that you may have never heard in your life that I put up. Before I put them up, I look online to see if anybody's put them up before me. So I do that actively as well on my channel. I do a couple of different type of things on my channel aside from like my own music and videos and things like that. I do remixes as well. So like I did the most recent remix I did was OC, Big L, Dangerous, and before that I did Eminem's Any Man, where I just put one of my beats over the track or whatever. So Orion Hip Hop is that channel. Come check me out there, or Instagram Brassball09. We got Patrolling Mahi on Bandcamp, so you can find it on Bandcamp. We also have physicals on the Bandcamp, which is actually a tape cassette that is really a USB. So it looks like a tape cassette aesthetically, but it's actually a USB. You can cop that on Bandcamp, and we'll ship it out to you and all that. And then obviously the streaming platforms, you pick your poison there.
All right, cool. What about you, DJ Proof? Where can people find you, man?
On IG, DJ Proof Beats. That's with a Z at the end. Also for the Bandcamp for the USB cassettes, it's orion9.bandcamp.com. You can go get it from there. You can also stream it. You can also download the album there also in MP3 form. For me, it's DJ Proof Beats with a Z. Also my DJ page, DJ Proof 305. I try to separate the two. One strictly for the DJing and one for the production. You can find me on those two right now. Also, my band, DJ Proof Beats with a Z.bandcamp.com. I have beat tapes up there. I have other projects that I've done.
Yeah.
Also on the streaming on everything. DJ Proof.
All right. I'll stay with you, Proof. I can't remember what I was going to ask now. Oh yeah, what's coming up? Because I know I asked you this question before in the last interview about staying prolific. What's next? What's coming next for you? Can you announce anything or?
Yeah. I actually just got back from San Antonio last week. I went out there to shoot a couple of videos and kind of finalize a few things with my brother Mad One out of San Antonio. So we're working on a few things, a full length and a couple of EPs. Got that coming out soon. And also I'm doing something a little different. It's kind of like I like to call it traditional hip hop with neo soul tendencies. So basically, the two artists I'm working with is going to be Rob Gonzalez, once again, longtime collaborator, and also my man E. Smitty. E. Smitty was on the last couple of Master Ace albums, so I'm going to look that up. E. Smitty. So E. Smitty is an MC, but he's also a singer. So he's singing on like every track, whether he's singing a hook or he's singing his verse. So it's going to be something a little bit more mellow, more chill, more to the soul, neo soul side or whatever, and it's a grown man album. I'll just say that. A lot of topics they're touching on, the average man over 30, 35 years old can relate to, whether it comes to relationships, family, just kicking it with your guys, your children, like everything. Like it's a real personal album. It's real personal. I'll say that. It's real personal.
Say people don't talk about long-term relationships in hip hop enough for me. No, that's dope, man. Okay, Orion, what's next for you, man?
I got a project with Steven DR Music. He just goes by DR, so it's gonna be called Rage Bait. I got
Yeah, my
another
brother.
project. Yeah, shout out to the brother, man. That shit, it's coming out pretty dope. And then I got another project with this talented producer, Spontanola, out of Tampa. We don't got a name for the project yet, but like we got a good amount of tracks done for that. I got some stuff like miscellaneous tracks. So I got these bass projects that I put out. It's just basically a lot of collaborative tracks with heads. And then as far as like on the event tips, we have Fuego Fest coming up in August, so come check us out there because that's definitely going to be a dope ass festival that goes down in Miami. Then in October, I might have a festival with this crew that I'm a part of, Low Life Miami Fam. We gonna be bringing some crazy ass acts, legendary. I can't say who they are, man, but it's some legendary Brooklyn artists that we're gonna bring down to Miami, and it's gonna be off the chain. That's gonna be in October. So yeah, that's pretty much what's in the path right now. And then just putting out, making sure people know about Trolling Mahi. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've said, man, Trolling Mahi is dope. I've been listening to it a lot this week, not just because I was going to talk to you guys, man, but because the album is dope and it's worth listening to. Make sure you go and cop that, man. Actually, just before I go, I just wanted to ask you one more question, Orion. I usually ask this when I speak to artists. Um, how did you come up with your name, Orion and Brass Balls? And did you have any other names before you settled on those names?
Yeah, when I was in college, I was going by Evil, EVOL. um because spelled backwards is love or whatever. But then I decided to like drop that name because I found out about an MC out of Detroit with that same name, and he had already put out a lot of albums. So I dropped that name. I played with the name Trevor Fitzroy, which was a character in Marvel comics, like obscure, upstarts was like the team he was in.
Mm.
But I was just like, it's just like, it's like a little long. Then I settled on Orion because when I came back to Miami, I was like battling a lot. I was entering a lot of MC battles. I was going to like any open mic I could like rap on, like poetry slams, all that. So I just noticed like with Orion, the mythology of Orion being a hunter, it's kind of like how I saw myself when I would go to these events. Like I'm hunting down these whack MCs. And that's where the whole Orion persona was born. And when I looked online, I did see at some point I did run into like a rapper out of Paris named Orion, but I was like, fuck that. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I'm tired of dropping names, you know?
yeah.
And then Brass Balls is like, I'm a child of Wu-Tang. You have to have like 100 aliases and shit. So it just hit me one day. I was watching that movie The Mist, and there's this one scene where the dude is gonna go out to his car and he has to get this car because it might have a shotgun inside or some shit like that. And he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And the dude looks at him and he gives him his keys. He's like, boy, you got brass balls. When I saw that, I was just like, yeah, that's an AKA right now. That'll fit with the other AKAs. But that's the AKA that stuck the most,
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for speaking to me, man. Trolling Mahi is out. It is dope. It's absolutely great album, man. Thank you guys for talking to me. I'm excited to see what you guys are bringing out in the future. Yeah, just catch me up when you got something coming out, man, and I'll definitely promote that, man. So Orion, DJ Proof, thank you very much for your time. Peace.
All right.
Thank you very much, man.
Peace.
Thank you.
Follow me on all social media platforms at JJMusicLover75, and also follow Black Culture Radio on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok.